If you're a fan of bold and expressive art, come check out my Patreon. For just $1, you'll get exclusive access to artwork that I don't share anywhere else. Click the link in the video description to dive into my daring creations and unique artistic style. Since Donald Trump's return to office, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has sparked a firestorm of controversy by reinstating Confederate names to several U.S. Army bases. This move, reversing the name changes implemented during the Biden administration, has ignited bipartisan outrage and a rare rebuke from a Republican-controlled Congress. Last Tuesday, the GOP-led House Armed Services Committee voted to block Hegseth's actions, with 2 Republicans joining Democrats in passing an amendment to the Pentagon's budget bill. Representative Don Bacon, a Nebraska Republican, voiced the sentiment of many, stating, "What this administration is doing, particularly this Secretary of Defense, is sticking his finger in the eye of Congress." Hegseth's actions directly contradict a 2021 law, passed over a Trump veto, establishing a commission to recommend new names and mandating Pentagon implementation. Hegseth's claim that the bases are now named after non-Confederate soldiers with the same surnames, a Roland Bragg for Fort Bragg, a Fred Benning for Fort Benning, for instance, rings hollow. This blatant attempt to circumvent the law has faced scrutiny in both the House and Senate. Senator Angus King of Maine directly challenged Hegseth in a June hearing, accusing him of honoring people who took up arms against their country on behalf of slavery. Hegseth's response, that the Pentagon acted within congressional allowances, was undermined by his own admission of a legacy, a connection between veterans and the old names. King's concise rebuttal: Hegseth's actions constitute an insult to the people of the United States. The deeper issue lies in a troubling disregard for the historical context. Braxton Bragg, for example, the namesake of Fort Bragg, was notoriously incompetent, earning the title of the most hated man in the Confederacy. His subordinates actively sought his removal, with one declaring that only divine intervention could salvage the Confederate Army under Bragg's leadership. Bragg's military failures culminated in the devastating defeat at Chattanooga in 1863. Yet, this widely reviled figure now lends his name to a major U.S. Army base. Fort Bragg's history is inextricably linked to the Lost Cause mythology, a romanticized narrative that downplayed slavery's role in the Civil War. Its naming in 1918, long after the war, reflected a South still grappling with the legacy of secession. Similarly, Fort Benning's namesake, Henry Louis Benning, was a fervent pro-slavery advocate who openly declared Georgia's secession was driven by the need to protect slavery. He envisioned a future dominated by black governance, proclaiming, "If things are allowed to go on as they are, we will have black governors, black legislatures, black juries, black everything." Is it supposed that the white race will stand for that? The renaming of these bases after the 2020 George Floyd protests, Fort Bragg becoming Fort Liberty, Fort Benning becoming Fort Moore, was short-lived, undone by Hegseth's actions. This pattern extends beyond Army bases. The Pentagon plans to rename the USS Harvey Milk, honoring the slain gay rights activist, for Oscar V. Peterson. Hegseth's actions, however, are not just about names, they are about a larger disregard for history and the values of a modern military. Braxton Bragg's legacy, a man described by a contemporary newspaper editor as possessing an iron hand and a wooden head, and ridiculed even by Ulysses S. Grant in his memoirs, is now at the heart of a national debate, highlighting a troubling disconnect between the past and present. Grant's recollection of Bragg's pre-Civil War self-conflict, simultaneously acting as company commander and quartermaster, and ultimately quarreling with himself, serves as a telling anecdote about the man. Perhaps, one might ponder, Braxton Bragg would feel quite at home amidst the current political climate. The implications of Hegseth's actions reach far beyond the renaming of military installations. They represent a profound challenge to the very fabric of historical accuracy and national reconciliation. The controversy continues to unfold, leaving the future of these base names, and the larger implications of this debate, uncertain.